Hello people, Niku here. I wanted to make this video because there are certain aspects of what I'm watching every now and then and what I'm hearing from people's videos and theories about the world that makes me angry. First of all, we have way too many morons that do not understand evolution, and yet they seem to be quoting it at every point and every opportunity that they get. If you believe that evolution cares about the species, then you're a moron. If you believe that evolution's only goal is the reproduction and procreation of that species, then you're retarded. If you believe that you're somehow a special little being above the cockroach, for example, then you're again being a fucking moron in my book. The ignorance of man is fundamentally seen in his inability to understand. That inability does not stem from the difficult concepts of evolution, or even the complexity of the microworld, but rather comes directly from that man's inability to put his own biases aside and find himself a reason to be in the bitter truth of his existence. The truth is so bitter, so horrible, so unjust and so immoral when you view things from a philosophical standpoint that you start hating your life. And in this hate and panic, you assign false perceptions, magical thinking to your everyday life, and require yourself a reason to live, something that is above the limitations of the physical world at times, to explain to yourself the tragedies that you may have lived, or perhaps help you understand that though, you're alone, though nobody cares about you, that somehow your patience and sacrifice would be rewarded. It is to our detriment that we allow this thinking to exist. It is to our detriment that we need hope that comes from external forces. Hope that doesn't simply get breathed from within, but is attributed to a god, karma, a superior being, and increasingly for the younger ones, the idea of love and such other bullshit. I detest this worldview. I detest it so much that it makes me sick to my stomach when I see this internal weakness in that other person. And I mean, I'm not the strongest of people, not by any extent of the imagination, and I have always looked for the answers on these philosophical questions from within. It shouldn't be that difficult. Albert Camus wrote, "There is only one really serious philosophical question, and that is suicide." And this statement speaks to the heart of this truth. If you assign your morals and values to everything, then life becomes inherently meaningless. And I'm not going to hold back any punches with this subject. I'm going to beat this into you, because I'm getting fed up of talking to people about it and having to offer reasonable and justifiable answers and morally uplifting statements in order to explain why life is worth living, why life is worth enjoying. And I know when people ask me these questions, I don't want to offer them the honest answer because they can't take it. And these following statements will not get me any friends. Life itself is meaningless. It is inherently valueless. Life is a complex chemical process. Yes, you're simply cells that carry DNA. You're machines that operate under instructions. You have, by a pure accident of chance, formed a person that would otherwise not have been formed if your dad wanked one off before or your mum simply swallowed. You are an accident. Your soul was not simply waiting to be assigned to your body. Your body is as it is because of that DNA and because of the life that you have lived. But inside of you, in your very core, where you feel all your emotions flood and where you view your world, there, deep down there is no soul. There is matter upon matter and atoms upon atoms. You are but empty space held together in this complex and continuous chemical process because of one ejaculation so many years ago. And you, like your forefathers, like your brothers and sisters and relatives and all your ancestors before you, you thinking hairless and bipedal ape, looked at the stars, looked at the vastness of the universe, looked at your life and everything that was, is, and will be after you, and thought to yourself, I am, and at some point, all that I am will not be. And that did not fill your heart with comfort and love. It did not answer any questions. It simply made you scared. After all, inside of you, there is this drive to breathe. Even if you want to drown yourself, for God's sake, your body does not allow you to do it. Holding your breath for over 2 minutes will be like getting stabbed and you feel pain that is unimaginable. Therefore, how can a man hold this thought in his head and take comfort in it? So you looked up to the stars and thought, at some point, there I might be living. There I might be part of the stars. There I might be again with my father and everyone that held any value to me. And all this pain that I have lived through so far, all the hunger, all the suffering, will be rewarded. And yet others that were slightly more brave looked further up and further down to the micro and the macro scale. And everywhere that they looked, the soul-crushing and painful truth came beating them down. My dear friend, you right now listening to my voice, you are but a collection of atoms and ions flashing back and forth, creating an energy source that drives your cells. Inside your cells exists DNA that gives instructions on how your cells operate and how you live your life, one that drives it. And in that truth, there is nothing bad or good. It is what it is, truth. You're that. You're simply that, a bipedal ape, an accidental ejaculation that took shape and form, and looked in the mirror and said, I am, I exist. And you're living on a tiny rock, on a tiny planet that spins around a massive fireball, in the midst of a galaxy upon billions of other galaxies, all infinitely far apart from each other. And the vastness of the world around us is just that, unobserved and empty space. You, the universe, are simply energy and mass, and how this energy and mass has come to realize it is just that. It is but a beautiful accident. You look at the world and its indifference, and it hurts you. You look at the cosmos and suddenly you become nothing, less important than the smallest of atoms in your own body. Yet you look at all this and you expect to find meaning. And the truth is, there is no meaning. If we want to look deep within, sit down and imagine everything, the unimaginable quietness of everything, then you simply feel what you are. You're nothing. You're but empty space. Life simply is, and it is only here on this planet, as far as we know, that it exists. And that's not something to be proud of, or something that is a miracle. It simply is. And you're looking for comfort within these truths, and you will never find any. But let me propose this. My thinking, although some of you might find flawed, and it isn't by any extent of the imagination, you're simply triggering and being precious on what I'm saying, does not negate the man. This thinking does not negate the person. It isn't misanthropic. It doesn't hate you, and it doesn't love you. It is indifferent to you. Like life itself, and your life in particular, it simply is. And since I am and I exist, then life itself should either be lived or simply let go. And to that, I have no answer that is satisfying. I have no reason to argue that life should be lived, other than some biological reasons that of course do not matter in the long run, so I cannot justify using them. Therefore, I will leave you with my personal attitude on this very issue, because it is simply that, an attitude that I live my life by. Though I feel cold and empty, though my soul has been taken away from me from the thoughts and the reading that I have done so far, though life itself simply exists because it does, and I'm here simply to observe it, I'm here. I am here. And I can conceptualize the cosmos around me. I can appreciate beauty because of this brain that I have. I can feel, and I can hurt. I have a choice to live, and I have a choice to die. Within this knowledge, within this truth, I'm absolutely 100% free. And it doesn't feel bad, it doesn't feel good, it simply feels like living. And I live because I want to. Not because of any justifiable reason to it, not because of instincts or any of that shit. I live because my parts could have been roaming the universe, my atoms could have formed other humans, and this collection of parts right now simply forms myself. And I like that. And fuck it if I'm going to let the truth of the reason of my existence, the reason for all the magnificence that I see around me on a conceptual level, simply ruin me. Fuck that. I will not bow down to morals about superior creatures and ultimate causes because the truth hurts. Not a single thing defines me that doesn't come from within. And though cold as truth, as this truth might be, I would rather take it even if it freezes my whole of insides, because if there are no ultimate plans, and no ultimate causes, why reduce myself to lies and comfort? Why not simply live? Why not look for more truth? Why not simply be and stop thinking about it? To be free is to allow the truth to hurt you. To be free is to do as you please. But not only that, it is to allow that will that you have inside of you to reach out with no ultimate goal rather than to simply be in the manner which it wants to be. Good night.